Hi guys, it's Eamonn Boyle from Install Software here, and today we're going to take a look at Docker Swarm. So Docker Swarm is Docker's native cluster solution. What it allows us to do is set up several machines, several nodes, have Docker running on them, and then have them coordinate into a swarm. So we can deploy services, which are running programs, but the swarm will replicate the service, do load balancing, failure management, all that sort of thing, and it comes out of the box with the latest versions of Docker. So the first thing we're going to need is to get access to some nodes. So I'm going to use AWS for that. Okay. Under AWS, you've got some native services that Amazon provides, but we're just going to look at it from the point of view of basic machines and manually setting up a swarm. So the first thing I need to do is actually create some nodes, and I have a couple of different options here. One of the things I can do is just install like a base Ubuntu image, and we'll just create that. Okay, so that will create a base Ubuntu image, and with the power of video editing, we'll let this fast forward and actually spin up. Okay, so that's now up and running, and I can see here I've got my public facing IP. So I could set up Docker on this machine manually. Now it's going to be different for different distros. With Ubuntu, the setup steps are, so just go to the Docker documentation, find out what are the steps for installing it for your particular distro, and this will get the very latest version. So if I run through these steps, okay, and apart from some cut and paste errors there, that was pretty painless. So that's Docker installed, but the service is not running, and I need to also add my user account, which in this case is Ubuntu, to the Docker group so that I have permission to run Docker commands. So I add it to the group by doing sudo usermod add to group, and the group is called Docker, and my account is called Ubuntu. Okay, and I need to log back in again for this to take effect. Okay, so I'm now logged back in, and now if I do Docker version, we can see that everything's up and running. Both the client and the engine are accessible here, and I can do some simple Docker commands like running hello world. And you can see there it downloaded the image and ran it. Okay, so that's one way we can get access to Docker from AWS. The other way that we can do it is by simply using Moby Linux, which will have everything already set up for us. So here we're back in AWS, and if we do a search for Moby Stable, we'll find the latest version of Community Edition of Docker version of Moby Linux. So we can select that. And again, using the power of video editing, we'll wait for that to get up and running. So we can see that this is up and running now, and if we look at the IP address, we can go and start an instance of that. So now we have an instance of Moby Linux running here, and Docker is pre-installed. So here we've got 4 instances created. I'm using my Ubuntu one, and then 3 Moby instances, and I've given them names here: Docker Manager and Docker Worker. Within a swarm, we have managers and workers. Managers can also do work, but they will coordinate things, and we can have multiple managers. So if one goes down, then another manager can take over. Okay, and I've also set up a security group to open up some ports, because we need 7946, 4789, and 2377. We need those open so that the swarm can communicate. So here we have our 4 instances, okay, and we can create a swarm by simply picking one of our machines and going Docker swarm init. Because I haven't set up the IP addresses and a VPC here, I'm just going to need to provide Docker with the public facing IP address so that the other machines can connect to it. So I can say that by doing --advertise -adr, advertise address, and then put in the public facing IP address of this machine. And that's all I need to do to create the swarm. Okay, and at the moment there's only this machine, but it's given me the command that I need to connect any other machines, and it's simply docker swarm join and then specifying a token and the address that I'm going to connect on. I can get that at any time by doing docker swarm join token and then specify whether or not I want the token for a worker or for a manager. So I can take my worker command here and go to one of my other machines and execute that, and it's joined the swarm. On one of the other nodes, it's joined the swarm, and I can take maybe my manager token and on the last machine join it as a manager. And then back on my manager, I can see all the nodes in my swarm by doing docker node ls. In fact, let's make this full screen. Docker node ls. And you can see here that there are now 4 nodes as part of this swarm. So what we can do now is we can run services on the swarm. So we do that by doing docker service create, and then we can specify an image. So let's run up a web server Nginx. So we can specify some options, like we can give it a name, like my web server. We can specify some other options, like how many times it's going to be replicated. So we can replicate this, say, I don't know, 8 times in our system. Okay, so that's kicked off the service. So we can do docker service ls to see any running services, and you can see here that we've got my web server, and it hasn't replicated yet because it's still downloading the images on the machines. And let's keep looking at that, and now you can see that there are 8 replicas of that service. Okay, and we can see the details of that by doing docker service ps on my web server, and you can see the instances of this, and they're running on lots of different nodes. Okay, so you can see that it is replicated across our swarm, running on our different systems. If we go to one of our other machines, so this is one of our nodes, and we do docker ps, we can see that there are some running containers on this system. Swarm can do so much more. It can we can change lots of properties around these services, scale them up and down. We can do rolling updates. You've got lots and lots and lots of control. This is really only scratching the surface, just to show you how quickly you can create a swarm and run a process or service across the swarm. And Docker takes care of everything, all of the networking, all of the cluster management. Hopefully you found that interesting. Leave your comments below and we can do some more videos. This has been Eamonn Boyle for Install Software.